Up now, it's Ben Milam. SuperTalk Mississippi News.
I love that music. It gets me going. Happy Friday, Gerard. How are you?
What's going on there, Big Ben?
Oh, plenty. Another long week, another jam-packed news week.
It sure was. What do you got for us today?
Well, I want to start. I got a couple of baseball stories, and one of, if not the biggest story outside of maybe one or two others, was a change at the head coaching position for Mississippi State baseball. Head coach Chris Lemonis. I would imagine if you got your finger on the pulse at all of college sports in Mississippi, you have heard of this, but we're going to talk about it anyways. Head coach Chris Lemonis for Mississippi State. They parted ways with him with 3 weeks left in the regular season. And part of what I want to talk about, and I think the conversation surrounding this has been really interesting to me. It's sparked, I think a very split public opinion in that a lot of the, especially national writers and people that are not Mississippi State fans, are either in the journalism media side of things or coaches from outside the state, what have you, were a little incensed that Lemonis was let go 3 weeks before the end of the regular season. Now, the Bulldogs not having a great year. They're in danger of missing the postseason for the third time in 4 years. But that is since 2021, which, of course, is when Mississippi State won the national championship, their first in school history. And a lot of people are saying, again, mostly I think on the outside, non-Mississippi people and media people are saying that he should have been given, these last 3 weeks. He earned it. He won a national championship. And so I actually wanted to kind of pose that question to you as, I know you're a baseball guy. We're both baseball guys. And I can kind of see both sides of it, right? Because, it is a high-level program. It's, just a storied, long string of success for this program. But, kind of the feather in the cap is that national championship in 2021. But then you've had this rough stretch in the 4 years following. I don't know. I don't really know how to feel about it. Do you feel like maybe they should have given him the last 3 weeks? I mean, it's 3 weeks. How much is that really going to help you in terms of your coaching search? I don't know.
Yeah, of course, it's a what have you done for me lately world, and it applies to college athletics just like it does in business and politics and everything else. Especially so. I mean, people are always quick to forget something good that may have happened in recent memory, and they're looking for the next big celebration.
That's right.
The timing of it in the remaining 3 weeks, it's just hard to tell, Ben. What may have been happening behind closed doors between the athletic department, the athletic director, and Coach Lemonis. Mm-hmm. And I agree. I've heard fans come down on both sides of that issue. That feel strongly one way or another. But I suspect there's more to the story that we probably don't know. I mean, it seems like you could have made that change after the season, but who knows?
Yeah, and that is, I think that's a great point. There is always going to be stuff that the general public is not privy to, especially in college athletics, I think, when there are so many factors to consider, and you have to think about the next coach, and maybe they have somebody in mind that it would make it more possible or more likely to hire them if they move more quickly. So you just never know. The money's a big part of it too, obviously. But whatever all the factors were, athletic director Zach Selman decided it was the right time to move on. The pitching coach, Justin Parker, will be the interim head coach, and in his first game as the interim head man, Bulldogs won big in midweek action. They will go back to SEC play this weekend against Kentucky. Super Bulldog weekend for you Mississippi State fans, big weekend. And I would imagine, that's part of the argument too, is it kind of injects some new hope and some new energy into the program because it's really not out of the realm of possibility that Mississippi State gets on a run here in the last 3 weeks and finds themselves in at least a much better position to make the NCAA tournament. So, yeah, it's possible. And the other baseball story I wanted to mention, I'm going to try to not make this a fully baseball segment, but this is definitely worth mentioning. We had baseball history made in Mississippi last night. William Carey's Bobby Halford passed Ron Polk to become the winningest baseball coach in Mississippi history, and that is
incredible.
That is certainly saying something. He got win number 1,374, passing Polk's 1,373, and that includes all of Polk's stops as a head coach. Twice at Mississippi State. He was at Georgia for a very short stint, and at Georgia Southern for 3 years as well. And I think one of the really cool things about what Coach Halford has done in Hattiesburg, he has been there for 40 years. He has never been in any other program. He has just won, and he has continued to win year after year. And the Crusaders back in that spot again. They're going to host a regional to begin NCAA or NAIA tournament play next week, and going to try to make a run at a second straight World Series. That would be number 6 in Halford's career. So really, really, really cool.
Man, quite the success right there under our nose at William Carey.
Sure,
I mean, a baseball powerhouse.
Yeah, and it's a long list, too. I would encourage people to go read more at supertalk.fm. As always, there's a lot of accomplishments and superlatives that we don't have time to completely cover here, but I would point people there. But plenty else happening outside of baseball as well, Gerard.
This Bonnet Carre spillway deal, that just seems like a monster that won't go away.
Yeah, it does. And that's, of course, the previous opening of the Bonnet Carre spillway. And so just some short background. And Caleb Sailors has done some excellent work on this, covering this for the last couple of years. As you mentioned, it's kind of an ongoing thing. But it was previously opened the last time there were real flooding concerns. This was in, don't quote me on this. This is, I believe, 2020. And if I could find the year, I guess it really, in 2019 was when it was last opened, February 27th of 2019. And this, the point of opening it is to alleviate flooding on the Mississippi River in the New Orleans area. It's where it's in Laplace, Louisiana, in the New Orleans area, and it's to alleviate flooding and mitigate risk for flooding. But the problem is it dumps all this fresh water into the saltwater Mississippi Sound, which completely decimated the marine life in the Mississippi Sound and surrounding areas as well. Killed more than 90% of oyster life in Mississippi Harvest Reef. Shrimp landings were reduced by 50%, and that was already, and continues to be an industry that has struggled in the Deep South and in Mississippi in particular. And so there were these massive lawsuits, and those have been settled, and payments for those are continuing to roll out. And so as the Mississippi River has risen as of late, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers has toyed with the idea of opening it again. And, of course, Lieutenant Governor Delbert Hosemann publicly threatened legal action if that were to happen. And so I think there was a lot of fear that we were going to have this again, the same thing that happened in 2019 and the lingering effects of that. But the good news is the river levels of the Mississippi River, they look to be headed towards lowering and no longer rising. And so the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers does not think they're going to have to open the Bonnet Carre spillway. And even if those forecasts are not quite correct, I think they have pointed to some things like dredging and some other things that will mitigate those flooding concerns outside of opening the Bonnet Carre spillway, which, again, these industries and just the marine life in general are just now starting to come around after that sequence of events that began in 2019. So really, really good news there.
Yeah, and it's not good for our seafood industry, of course. It's had a significant negative economic impact on that. So hopefully we can get that squared away and get some resolution there. Just don't like to see that contention. Okay, so Grenada County, a new industrial park. This is something the governor has really been promoting, the need to make some investment in these sites. Yeah, every week it feels like, Gerard, we have a new big economic development story to tell you. This will be an estimated $4 billion direct impact on the economy in Grenada County. It'll create up to 2,500 jobs and hopefully attract some new big investments in the state. And then the voter registration deadline, when is that?
Yep, that's coming up. That will be on Monday, May 5th. So if you've not registered for the upcoming municipal general elections all across Mississippi, Monday, May 5th. If you want further details, go to supertalk.fm.
Sounds great. Great report there, Ben. Thanks for coming in.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, Gerard.
Ben Milam, Multimedia Journalist, SuperTalk Mississippi News, has been our guest. We're stepping aside for a break. At 11:05 today, it's Representative Sam Creekmore.